I get people that give me their old electronics all the time that they're just going to take to recycling because they don't work and they don't want to spend any money on them. So they'll say, here, you can have my old receiver, my old turntable or whatever. I don't want it. And a lot of times they're junk, and I'll fix them up and give them away. And every so often I get a piece that I'm going to hang on to it. And this is one that I'm going to hang on to. Check this one out. Today I have an NAD7125 stereo receiver. I have no idea what's wrong with this one. So first, we'll hook this up and see if it does anything. Notice it has a speaker impedance switch, which you have to actually switch by loosening these screws and sliding the screws back and forth. The actual switch portion itself is fixed. You switch it by moving the base of the switch. Moves it back and forth. That way you can't accidentally switch it without loosening off these screws. This unit, as you can see, was made in Japan. This could be it's got Boston and London on it, so I don't know where this one was designed, but this one was actually a Japanese manufactured unit. As I say, I don't know anything about the history of this unit itself, so we'll find out once I get this thing powered up as to what it's going to do. Make sure the volume's not cranked up on it. Turn it on. See if we can get a station in here. How about my test transmitter? I don't have an antenna on it, so let's hook up an antenna. Could this thing actually work? Right channel appears to be a bit lower than the left. That could be my test transmitter, though. It may not be balanced. Okay, I think it's just my transmitter may not be balanced, because in mono mode the levels are the same.
Lowering.
I like the tuner. I can't play that. Thing actually sounds pretty good. Where is it? I don't know what frequency that is. 94.5.
You know dog days, you know all the time, doing all the time.
Well, I think if the person wins today, we're definitely on a roll. Let's do it.
It just takes some time.
because they just dropped the duct.
I love it where as you're scanning through it, you can hear the stations in the background. Listen.
And apparently they are going.
Kind of like an analog tuner as you're scanning. Here. Oh, get rid of that.
Your source for great music. Drive with Rich Turfry on CBC Music, Canada's music station.
The latest from Harry Styles is a bona fide summertime jam. Here's Watermelon Sugar.
Tastes like strawberries.
And it stops at the top end of the dial. It doesn't go back down to the bottom. You have to go back the other way. That's kind of cool. I'm liking this unit already. Now, I don't know what the heck, I don't know what was wrong with it. It was set for 4 ohms when it was brought to me. This is my unit, right? I had a guy just show up and he says, hey, you want a stereo? Here, you can have my old NAD. That's okay. So this is my unit. And you can bet I'm going to put this thing into service. I love the LED display on it. You know, so many receivers went to vacuum fluorescent display, which in the VFD also looks nice. You know, VFDs look nice for digital displays, but I really like the red LED. I think that makes this piece just stand out. And it's a 4-digit display because it goes in what 0.05. Not that that's necessary because our channel spacing here is 200 kilohertz, right? But this here goes in 50 kilohertz spacing. But that just gives it more of a linear feel when you're going through the frequencies. Let's go to AM. I don't think I'll get anything because there's no AM antenna on this thing. I'll have to put an antenna on it to hear anything. Let's just put a piece of wire on here, and maybe I'll even fire up my little AM test transmitter. Okay, I don't have much for an antenna on here. There's not much. There's not much on AM anymore. There's the traffic station. I just have a piece of wire.
The 530.
Eastbound at 144th Street. Engineering professor Tara Alvarez.
That should be mine. Oh, I don't have any audio plugged in. Let's plug some audio into it. Okay, now I've plugged the sound in. Same thing as FM, right? I basically just have a little FM tuner that's picking up the signal from my little 10 milliwatt or whatever the power is test transmitter and pumping it into my 400 milliwatt AM stereo transmitter. It performs as well as AM can be expected to perform. Let's go back to FM. has 5 memories. None of them are set, looks like. So you can press, I think it's, I don't know how to set this thing. Let's try setting another frequency. Let's try. Takes a while to get anywhere, doesn't it? Okay, I managed to set that on 2 of them at the same time. Okay, I want to set this on 1, so if I press enter 1, is that how it works? Okay, that's how it works. So I'll set another one here. I'll set number 3 to 99.3. I'll set number 4 to 101.1. Actually, I'll set number 5 to 101.1. I'll go back to 99.3. I'll set that on number 4, and I'll set number 3 to 96.9 just to play around with this thing. There, 96.9. Enter 3. So now I've set the 5 stations, and I'm assuming that you can have, yeah, you can set 5 for AM as well. So if I set the AM stations 730, 980, 1040, that's about the only stations we've got here, 1130, and I'll set this one to 1440 just for my test. There we go. So it has 5 FM, 5 AM presets. I know you guys want to see this thing inside, and so do I. I'm going to clean up these switches anyway. And I was hoping there'd be something wrong with it, but I was told it had no sound. That's why it was given to me, because it had no sound. I think it's an incompetent user. What do you think? Maybe he had that switch. Well, the switch was set to 4 ohms, but that wouldn't make any difference if you had 8 ohm speakers on it. Not going to make any difference at all. But it was set to 4 ohms, and I moved it to 8. So maybe the switch was the problem. Maybe the switch is buggered up, and maybe the contacts are burnt on the 4 ohm side. Who knows? But it works in the 8 ohm position. Let's pull this one apart and just take a look inside it. Oh, does this not take the sides off? I think this just takes the sides off. I don't need to take the sides off on this unit. I need to take the top off, which is held in place by screws on the back. The whole face looks like it comes off of it. Looks like I got to take out screws on the bottom and screws on the back. And the whole cover looks like it slides forward on this unit. Interesting. Do I have to take those side covers off? That's an interesting one. I haven't opened one of these ones up yet. I think probably the knobs all have to come off too. I think on this the knobs all have to come off the front. Screws come out of the front and out of the back, and the whole cover slips forward on it. Of course, they're a different size screw. They look to be a number 1 screw. So let's go to the number 1 driver. Are they a number 0 screw? Oh, they're a number 1. And then the top, lift off this thing like that. Interesting. as you can see, the controls here are nice and easy to get into to clean. So we're going to do that. We're going to give these all a shot of cleaner just to make sure that they are going to stay clean for a while. Neutral. Give all the controls a turn. Power the unit up. We'll check this thing out on the auxiliary input as well, figure out which button that is. I'm just going to check the phono preamp while I've got it apart. So, let's see here. Auxiliary is the 1, 2, 3, 4th one over. Is that it? No. What am I doing? It's this one. Auxiliary should... Nope. That one. That's auxiliary. That switch sounds okay. You'll notice that when in auxiliary mode, they actually turn out the display for the radio. So there's the display. It's made up of 5 separate red LEDs. This is the stereo mono button. It's also used to set the preset. So to put it into mono or stereo, you press and hold. Turns the stereo light off or on. And if you just press it quickly and then press one of the other buttons, it saves the station. You'll notice on the displays that this one is only used to display the number 1. Whether it's in the 100 range for FM or for the 1000 range for AM. This one digit is only used to display a 1, and that's it. So this unit is a class AB output. Looks like it's got a couple little circuit breakers on here too. This is for speaker protection. 2SD1148 is the NPN transistor. The PNP is 2SB863. Specs on these will output a maximum of 100 watts. Now, with the small power supply capacitors in this thing, they're only using 4700 microfarad caps, and the transformer is not that big, although it's a good transformer. NAD typically have some pretty good iron in them, right? That's a good design of transformer. But output power wise on this thing here, would you believe 25 per channel is all this amplifier is rated. But 25 watts per channel is probably going to be pretty clean for that. I guess it's the number, right? 7125, so 25 watts per channel. But, you know, for 25 watts per channel, it doesn't sound too bad at all. And you'll never blow these transistors, as these transistors are rated at 100 watts. So the power supply is never going to provide enough power to even damage these transistors. If you short the speaker terminals on this, it's going to trip the circuit breakers, but it shouldn't blow the outputs because it doesn't have enough power. And it's also fully fused. Look at all the fuses in this thing. There's 4 fuses here, and there's another main power fuse over here. I'm going to stick the top on this, and we'll hook up a turntable to it, see how it sounds with a magnetic cartridge on it. Certainly you gotta like how the top's one on these. They just kind of slide on. Sort of. Next, trying to line them up here so they're all in the middle. As the control has an indent. There we go, middle. Okay, let's hook up a turntable to this thing and see how it sounds with vinyl. Gotta love all those scratches. That's why vinyl sucks and always will. Clicks and pops. Snap, crackle, pop. Okay, that works. Re-secure the tone arm. This is just my test table. As you can see, the speed was dead on this thing. I fixed this one years ago, this turntable. And everyone said, put all new caps in it. Well, I didn't put new caps in it. I just calibrated it. It's fine. That was done, I don't know, probably 4 years ago. And it's still fine. So there it is. NAD7125. Nice little basic receiver. Made in Japan before the NAD stuff moved over to China. This would be going back to about I'm going to say 1983. I believe around 1983. So coming up on 40 years old. 38 years old. Not bad shape. Working great. Yeah, didn't even need to clean the controls, but we did that for good measure. Anyway, thanks for watching.